Hello and welcome to the Fantasy News Show from the Bottled Imp. My name is Ken Boyter and this is your weekly fix of fantasy news. On this week's show, Bryony Hatchwriter has a new play coming to New York. The World of Warcraft will be coming to us soon. And you only have 13 hours to save your baby brother from the Goblin King. But first, a Viking film will be made completely in Old Norse. Norwegian writer and director Marcus Dashlet's Viking 34-minute film is the first to be entirely made in Old Norwegian. Now, the theme of Viking is very prevalent at the moment. You've got TV shows like Vikings from HBO and also The Lost Kingdom from the BBC, and board games such as Blood Rage and Champions of Midgard. So, this piqued my interest. The film is called Trace, and it's part of a university master's degree. And the name of it, I'm going to attempt the Dutch version. It's Et Spoor av Fortiden, meaning a trace of the past. Now, this film director who's doing this thesis, he asked Jan Ragnar, who is a professor of Old Norse at his university, to translate his script into Old Norwegian because he wanted his characters to have a really authentic feel and flavour to them. And obviously, doing everything in the Old Norwegian, supposedly Viking language, just adds that extra layer of authenticity. Now, I thought this was an intriguing idea. I'm not sure if there's going to be English subtitles or not, so you may, if you're watching it and you obviously can't speak Old Norwegian, are you actually going to understand it? But I think it's a great idea. And obviously anything that's historical or fantasy really does need to be believable, like really solidly believable in order to be believable. Whereas if you set something in present day, then everything's there. You don't really have to create the world and make it ultra authentic. And obviously adding the authentic language is going to help with that. Now, unfortunately though, I couldn't find any more details about this. I couldn't find the film available to buy on DVD. I couldn't find any other information. They do have an IMDb page. Obviously it's got X amount of information on there, but I really wanted to see this film. So if you know the director, or maybe I should just email him. If you know him, leave some comments and hopefully we can get in touch with him and I can watch the film and maybe review it. They do also have a Facebook page as well, and you can see the trailer. I did watch the trailer for it on their Facebook page. And where I got this article from is scenicnordic.com, so you can read a full article about that. There's lots more information there. And all that's left to say on that topic is Lola Skalu Ok Deja, which apparently means, may you suffer and die. Typically Viking, that is. Anyway, World of Warcraft, The Beginning, will be out on the 30th of May, and that's in the UK and internationally, and it's going to be out on the 10th of June in the US of A. It's written and directed by Duncan Jones, and it was first announced way back in 2006. And obviously it's based on the massively popular and successful video game that then spawned some novels. One of which I mentioned last week that was coming out. Now, I did also say that I've never played the video game. I know it's such a big classic that I really should have done. And I've never read any of the novels, but I will definitely be going to see this film. It's got a large cast that includes Travis Fimmel, Paula Patton and Ben Foster, and the budget is massive. It's $100 million. So obviously it's going to be big, it's going to be loud, it's going to be full of adventure and special effects. Let's just hope that the script and the characters and the story are good. Otherwise, what's the point? Anyway, you can watch the trailer as well. It's warcraftmovie.com, and obviously there's lots more details there as well. Guild Ball is a tabletop medieval game from Steamforged Games, and it's basically football. And that's, when I say football, I mean English football, not soccer. They soccer, the Americans call it soccer. So it's not American football or rugby. Anyway, I'm getting a bit tied up in knots there. Anyway, it's football, English football, and it's got a medieval flavour to it, and it's got combat to it. There are 9 guilds for you to play with, 9 teams, and they've each got their own abilities and characteristics. And I love the names of these. Some of them are alchemists, engineers, love that idea, hunters, butchers, and even brewers. So it's not just your normal kind of wizards and elves and goblins. They've actually gone in for trades from the medieval era, which I love that idea. And each guild has its own little miniatures that you play with. And I really like the idea of this. I used to love playing Subbuteo as a kid, a little tabletop football game that you'd flick around the little figures and you'd try and score goals and have little grandstands and things like that. Loved that as a kid. It's still going, so kids, if you don't know what it is, check it out. Get off your computers and play a real game. Anyway, yeah, but this has just got the medieval flavour to it. It's got combat. They're also going to be running a competition at the UK Games Expo, which is happening in June. So if you're going to that and you want to see how it plays, or maybe you get a chance to play it, then that can be your chance. If this appeals to you, you can also check out their website, which is steamforged.com, where you can read all about the game, and in fact you can buy the game there as well. The Manhattan Theatre Club in New York will be staging the world premiere of Penelope Skinner's Ruins of Civilization. Now you might recognise Penelope Skinner's name because she's the co-creator and writer of the urban fantasy graphic novel Bryony Hatch. Now we did review this a few months ago. Check it out. I absolutely loved the graphic novel, and so yeah, check out the review, see if that's for you. I would totally recommend that novel. Anyway, back to the play. It's directed by Leah C. Gardner, and the story is set in the future where the world is on the brink of extinction, and it explores the themes of free will and the human connections that we have with other people. So if you live in New York and you can get a chance to see this, I would definitely go and grab that chance. Penelope, she's a fantastic writer. She's an award-winning one as well, and her previous plays have been performed at the Royal Court and the National Theatre in England as previously. So I'm just hoping that this play comes to the UK soon. The opening night is the 18th of May, and you can visit the theatre's website to buy your tickets at manhattantheatreclub.com. UK Games Expo souvenir t-shirts are available to pre-order. Yes, it's their 10th anniversary year. They've been going for 10 years. They've been building this event up. It's all about board gaming and about tabletop gaming. And this t-shirt is the first time that they've actually done it where the public can buy them. Normally they create these for the volunteers as a little thank you. This time they're selling it, I guess maybe because it's their 10th anniversary. And it looks really cool. It's orange, a picture on a black t-shirt, different sizes obviously as you'd imagine, but the picture, the pattern is actually made out of little geeky things, little board game icons, so little meeples and little TARDIS shapes. Looks brilliant. I've already pre-ordered my one. You can pre-order your one too if you visit their website, which is ukgamesexpo.co.uk. You do have to pre-order them. The expo is running from the 3rd to the 5th of June, and you'll be able to collect your t-shirt if you've pre-ordered it at the event. Award-winning fantasy author Thomas Olde Heuvelt, mere names, eh? He's got a new novel out on the 26th of April. The novel is called Hex, and it's the English translation of the best-selling Dutch novel of the same name, obviously, but in Dutch. Not Dutch. I don't know what language they speak. It is Dutch. I don't know. Anyway, the novel is about a small town called Black Spring, and it's haunted by the Black Rock Witch, and it's set in the 17th century. And what happens is there's a woman whose eyes are stitched or closed, stitched up, and her mouth is stitched up as well. They're sewn shut. So that's quite an intriguing start to the novel. The author is a Hugo and World Fantasy nominated author, and he did actually win a Hugo Award for a short story, one of his short stories. So with the Dutch version already a success, it's already a big bestseller, this book does sound pretty good. And the author will be signing copies of the book at London's megastore, the Forbidden Planet megastore in Shaftesbury Avenue, on the 27th of April between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. and that's in London. Obviously, you can find out more about him, the author, and maybe how to pronounce his name as well, and about his work at oldheuvelt.com. Obviously, you'll have no idea how to spell that, so we're going to put all these links in the description underneath this video. River Horse have announced that they've acquired the license to create a board game based on, wait for it, Jim Henson's Labyrinth. Now, a lot of people are going to be excited about that. Yes, it is happening. It is a thing. The 1986 film created by Jim Henson is a classic. Now, I have done a review of it. Be warned though, if you do check that out, you might be slightly shocked with what I said about the film. The game is going to be, it seems like it's a co-op game. It's for 1 to 4 players, and you are all trying to save Sarah's baby brother, Toby, from the evil Goblin King, before Toby is turned into a goblin himself. And you have 13 hours, well, that's what the film is, 13 hours. So it's based very strongly on the Labyrinth film. It's got all the main characters from the film, Sarah the Goblin King, Hoggle, Sir Dimachus, if that's how you pronounce his name, and of course, Ludo. They've created these really cool looking miniatures that you can paint. So if you're into painting miniatures, you'll love that. So if you're a big fan of Labyrinth and you're a big fan of painting miniatures, this one is definitely for you. They've even got David Bowie as the Goblin King in all his get-ups. If you ever wanted that, a little miniature of David Bowie as the Goblin King, your dreams have come true. The game does look really cool. So I'm tempted to just try this out, even though I wasn't a big fan of Labyrinth, the film. I'm excited to play it though. They haven't released a date yet for when it's going to come out, but it's expected this summer. So fingers crossed, the game's going to be good. Kickstarter news. e-Raptor is a company that specialises in custom-made fantasy dice towers and also accessories for board games. But this time they're doing the next round of their dice tower campaign, and it's called the Fine Art Collection. So rather posh title. It's all fantasy art, obviously, and there are loads to choose from. There are dragons and knights and angels and various different monsters. Plus, for the pledge of $35, you can have a photograph of yourself put onto one of their dice towers. That'd be pretty cool. So obviously if you're into cosplay and you want to dress up as a knight or something, then yeah, sounds pretty cool to me. They've even got ones that are shaped in fantasy figures. So you've got a dragon one, and you've also got a ruined castle, I think it is, as well as sort of pictures just put onto the dice towers. The artwork does look beautiful, and obviously I'm a sucker for lovely artwork. And for those of you that don't know what a dice tower is, it's just simply a way that you can roll your dice if you're playing a game, and they just tumble into a container, and it means that they don't go off the board. So if you've got any kids that do that, I know that sometimes kids can get a bit excited and they just throw the dice everywhere. This is a way to stop that, and they look cool as well. The campaign finishes on the 11th of May. Ness is a comic book inspired by monster author H.P. Lovecraft and film director Guillermo del Toro, and it's created and written by Chris Welsh. The story, as you may have guessed, is all about Loch Ness Monster and the shores, the murky waters that are Loch Ness in Scotland. And it's a 4-part horror comic, full colour. And the author wanted to give the UK its own type of Godzilla monster, obviously Godzilla being from Japan. And he thought, well, obviously we've already got one, so let's create another story, and an action-packed story for the Loch Ness Monster. It's a 4-man team. You've got Chris Welsh as the writer. Ink is by Rob Carey, and colours by D. Cuffnin. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. And the letters by Robin Jones. It's available both digital and print format, with other goodies available if you want to pledge for those. He has put a selection of panels up, and the artwork does look really, really good. It looks really cool. So yeah, I'm tempted by this one. Anyway, it's nearly funded, and it finishes on the 13th of May. Sam Zhao has created handmade wooden deck and counter boxes for tabletop and trading card games. He has 3 designs for his storage boxes. There's Growth, Chainmail and Harmony, and they've all got this ancient kind of antique, slightly fantasy feel to them. They do look beautiful. Plus there's a 4th design of Ancient Scrolls, and that is you have to unlock that as a stretch goal, so I think it's £20,000 he's looking for to actually unlock that. I might be wrong with that one. But, I am a sucker for these little boxes because you can put little dice in them. You can put, as I say, you can put your cards in it for like Magic the Gathering, that kind of thing. So they do look gorgeous. I do want this, yes, I must admit. There's lots of details, and they look really really good quality. And he's got all the dimensions and everything that he's put into it, like what type of materials and how to look after them. All the details are there. So he's obviously, this is a labour of love. Apparently it took him 10 months to actually research and design these boxes. Sam is based in the UK and he does have shipping worldwide for these items. It's already massively overfunded, but obviously that doesn't stop you from funding it if you want to as well, and that finishes on the 11th of May. And finally, Bottled Imp news. We are going to the UK Games Expo at the beginning of June. Well, that's not quite the news, we've already told you that, but our stand number has changed once again. I think this is the third time, so lessons learned. If you book a stand, wait until you're absolutely, totally nearer the time before confirming it. We are now G17. Forget everything I said previously, G17. Our stand, if you walk into the hall, if you just keep on walking and then you go right to the end and turn left, you'll come to Baker Street, and then you just keep walking and then we'll be on the right near the end. It's where the food is, or one bit of the food is. And all the little corridors, all the walkways are named various streets, as is Baker Street. So G17 is what you're looking out for. We do have our own website where you can find out loads of information about us and our shows at thebottledimp.com. Also, obviously, we've got our Facebook page and Twitter. But for now, that's all we have time for. And remember, keep it unreal, especially the news.